of a productive petroleum system onshore Barbados, and the recognition of correlative geological trends extending from the producing hydrocarbon fields both onshore and offshore Trinidad and Tobago. In 1996, after extensive negotiations, Barbados signed an offshore license and concession agreement with the international oil company Conoco, granting them exclusive rights to explore the island's frontier deepwater acreage in search of hydrocarbons. Conoco's work culminated in the drilling of the island's lone offshore well. This well was drilled 130 kilometers south of Barbados to a total depth of 15,074 feet in water depths measuring 6,975 feet. Unfortunately, this well was deemed to be a dry well, with the post-well analyses indicating that the trap had been breached, causing hydrocarbons to escape from the structure. The well did, however, prove the presence of good quality reservoir rock and significantly improved the understanding of the island's offshore geology. Encouraged by the results of Conoco's offshore studies, as well as the renewed interest in frontier exploration by international oil companies, Barbados launched its first offshore licensing round in the year 2007 in an effort to license prospective areas of its offshore acreage. The island's offshore territory was subdivided into 26 blocks, with 24 of these being made available for bidding. On conclusion of the licensing process, BHP Billiton, a leading global resources company headquartered in Australia, emerged as the only successful bidder, and in 2008, the company was awarded 2 offshore blocks, Carlisle Bay and Bimpshire. Since that time, the government of Barbados and BHP Billiton have been engaged in intense yet fruitful negotiations to finalize the exploration licenses for the Carlisle Bay and Bimpshire blocks. It has now been almost 20 years since Barbados has granted an international oil company the mandate to explore its territorial seas and exclusive economic zone in search of hydrocarbons. Today, Barbados' offshore petroleum acreage remains largely underexplored, with both local and international geological experts agreeing that all the necessary elements for a productive petroleum system are present in the offshore. Today, the maturing Woodburn oil field is showing signs of steady decline, producing on average 700 barrels of crude oil and 1.9 million cubic feet of natural gas per day. More critically, during the period 2003-2013, Barbados' average annual fuel import bill stood at $542.3 million Barbados dollars, and in 2012 reached a staggering peak of $807.8 million Barbados dollars, which equated, of course, to 9.6% of our gross domestic product. Expending such significant amounts of capital on the importation of fossil fuels has impacted government's ability to allocate the desired level of financial resources across other areas of critical national importance, such as education, health, and social development. It is in this context that the signing of the offshore exploration licenses for Carlisle Bay and Bimpshire blocks becomes increasingly important to Barbados' energy future and the development of its people, its goods, and its services. Barbados will be forging a strong partnership with one of the world's most highly regarded international oil companies, whose core values of sustainability, integrity, respect, performance, trust, teamwork, diversity, and accountability will undoubtedly resonate in the hearts and minds of all Barbadians. Barbados. While the successful development and exploitation of Barbados' potential offshore petroleum resources is of great importance and significance to the island, the government will expect no less than the highest commitment to the preservation and protection of our coastal and marine environment, as well as the communities in which BHP will operate. This process is not simply about generating revenue or securing our financial future. It is also an opportunity to make a lasting contribution to the social, professional, and educational development of the Barbadian people. Every single Barbadian is a stakeholder in the offshore petroleum program, and the government of Barbados will ensure that the benefits derived from offshore exploration and production activities are spread evenly across the economic and social spectrum for present and future generations of Barbadians. There is absolutely no doubt that BHP Billiton will be investing a sizable portion of its capital and other resources to evaluate Barbados' offshore acreage. The government of Barbados firmly believes that BHP's strong track record in the upstream oil and gas industry makes it the ideal partner to assist the country in realizing its offshore petroleum potential. Signing these two exploration licenses will send a clear message to the industry that Barbados is open for business and is serious about the development of its offshore petroleum sector. In addition, Barbadian nationals stand to reap early benefits on execution of the licenses through the negotiated provisions for annual training, scholarships, local content, coastal and marine environment research, and the acquisition of critical equipment and software. The government of Barbados has also taken great care in formulating a robust regulatory regime and legislative framework that will ensure all offshore exploration and production activities are undertaken in accordance with the highest industry standards. Future exploration and production activities in the offshore will be governed by the Offshore Petroleum legislation, which consists of the Offshore Petroleum Act of 2007, Offshore Petroleum Amendment Act of 2012, the Offshore Petroleum Taxation Act of 2007, the Offshore Petroleum Taxation Amendment Act of 2012, and the Offshore Petroleum Regulations, which were proclaimed and enacted into law effective the 15th of February 2013. The Barbados National Oil Company Limited will also play a critical role in the future development of the island's offshore acreage, being the entity nominated to execute Barbados' carried interests for the Carlisle Bay and Bipshire blocks. The fundamental long-term goal of BNOCL's state participation will be to develop the company's offshore technical capability and expertise in offshore exploration and production to a position where it can become a competent operator in its own right. The Division of Energy is also working closely with local stakeholders to formulate a comprehensive long-term petroleum development strategy that will inform Barbados' future offshore petroleum policies. In the event that commercial quantities of hydrocarbons are discovered in the Barbados offshore, our country can transition from being a net importer of fossil fuels to a net exporter within the next decade. It is our aim, however, to ensure that this transition occurs in a manner that is efficient, transparent, sustainable, and free from reproach, keeping well in line with the Barbadian ethos and way of conducting business. It is our duty to create for future generations of Barbadians an enduring legacy of which they can be proud, and a country where they can not only live well, but also prosper. At this time, it remains only for me to extend my congratulations to the team from the Division of Energy, who have worked tirelessly over the last few years to successfully conclude negotiations with BHP Billiton and bring us to this juncture where two mutually agreed exploration licenses can be signed for prospective blocks in the Barbados offshore. It is hoped that future exploration and production activities will be executed judiciously and redound to the benefit of both parties as we seek to forge a robust relationship over the coming years. Welcome to Barbados, BHP Billiton. We are eager to begin working with you. Thank you very much.